just encouraging me. And so for the first time, I really believed that I could do this. And so I left with a fire. I was like so far away from double diamond, it's not even funny, but I was like, dude, it's happening. Like, I don't know how, but it's happening. And that's the cool thing. You don't have to know how. But I just worked my tail off, like no sleep, nothing. And ended up promoting to double diamond in March of last year. And my boyfriend promoted to diamond, and we earned $40,000 in bonuses that month combined. And then I was like, I'm done sitting at ranks for a whole year. So I will be darned if I sit at double diamond until March of next year. So I was like, I'm going for triple, because, you know, they had the where you can, like, if you get it within a certain amount of time, you can still get another bonus for triple. So I had 2 months. I had to go triple by May. And I was like, I don't know if it can happen, but if conference taught me anything, it was that if you think it's impossible, it could happen. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I started talking to all the people who were actually working on my team, and it actually ended up being 3 different rubies. I was like, all of you are going diamond. Let's do this. And they're like, okay. So like, we just all like just kept that momentum going. We were so excited. And those 3 rubies all in 2 months went from ruby to diamond, and I promoted to triple. And my boyfriend promoted to double. So we ended up earning a total now. Overall, I don't even know how many we earned that month, but we've earned a total of $127,000 in bonuses altogether. I think it was $65,000 that month, because I earned a $50,000 triple bonus. But yeah, so like literally just so crazy. My life has changed so much in just a year, or like less than that. But yeah, so that's my story. And because of it works, we've been able to just not have to, I don't have to put gas and groceries on credit cards anymore. Like, that's a huge deal. I've been able to pay off $10,000 in credit card debt that I was racking up all those times that I had to pay for all that food on a credit card. I've been able to buy a safer car that's, you know, safer in the snow that we have all here in Michigan. And, I'm paying off that car this year. Like, I have big plans for this year. We're looking at houses, like, you know, and I'm 24 years old, and it's just so crazy because a lot of people my age, like, don't know where they want to go, and It Works has given me the vehicle to just kind of give me that vision for what I want to do with my life. So yeah, I'm super thankful.
I love it. Oh my goodness. And I'm really mad because I just hit record 5 minutes ago. I did not realize that. So I know that the other people, the 107 that are on, be happy. But I think a few of you scragglers came in late. But okay, I love so much of what you said. At first I was taking notes, but then I was just listening. But I just kind of want to rewind that. First of all, hearing you, Morgan, it excites me, and then it makes me so sad. You remind me of a couple girls that were on my team before, and I remember that going to Ruby and being Ruby. And then it's so easy because we all join for this little amount. Like John and I talk about all the time. It's like, he'll say I joined for $500, but I really joined for $160. I wanted to pay for dance for 2 girls dance class, $80 a month times 2. That was why. But then you start seeing the potential, you know? And so it's like, it's easy to like get that Ruby check. And even if you're making below average Ruby, say you make a $300 Ruby check or whatever, it's more than you planned, but then you get there and you're like, yeah, but there's more, because you get the potential. So you do lose that perspective. And you sat there for a year. And the thing is, I think most Rubies that sit there for a year throw in the towel along the way. And you know what they miss out on? They miss out on going triple diamond, earning whatever you said in bonuses, and even more than the bonuses, making that crazy awesome. I know the triple diamonds, that's when you start making that 6 figures a year from your phone type of thing, you know? And so I love that you didn't throw in the towel. And if there's anyone on here and you're like, man, I've been at Ruby for a year, I've been there for 2 years, maybe like I was at Ruby and I fell back, whatever, like, don't stop. Or maybe like at Diamond and I fell to Ruby and now I've been getting paid Ruby for a year. I mean, Morgan's definitely proof when you don't stop, you can get there. What keeps you from getting there is when you quit. So I love that. I love that, you know, you sat at Ruby for a year. It wasn't just this blink your eyes, you know, you flew up the ranks. And then even, and that was you working it, because you said you talked about it everywhere, you were sharing it with everyone, and you were at Ruby for a year, you know? And then even with Diamond, I totally think that sometimes it's kind of what you said about, you sat at Diamond for a year. So then go Diamond, you sit there for a year. And I think that, like, because you're kind of like how I was, I went to conference, and yeah, at my first conference I was double, but I remember thinking like that was it, you know, but you just kind of have to get to that event to see all these people. And you hear us say it, but it's so true, to literally look at them and be like, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. Like that just gave me hope, you know? So I love that you said you got to that event, your vision was widened and expanded. So it's not too late, y'all. If you're on here, get to conference. This girl talked about going from diamond to triple, you know, within just a couple months. And so I love that you decided, I'm not going to stay for a year, because had you not had that vision, you would have probably stayed diamond. Or if you're like, okay, I went double, you know, you would have stayed. So I love that, love that. And then the last thing I just want to re-hit on that you said, especially for those new people on, since it won't be in the recording, is that I literally just went live. I think I was just talking to the Diamonds about it. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it was on a live or our Diamond Zoom, but I love that you said you going, you know, double to triple. That does seem impossible by yourself. It does. And I like the whole, let me take the responsibility. Like, I'm doing this. I got to fill these boxes. But the thing is, you can't do it alone. And so you looked at who is working and took the 3 rubies, because it is possible for somebody to go ruby to diamond in 2 months. That's totally possible. I mean, you went ruby to diamond in a month, basically, from the time you decided to go for it. So you took and you worked with those people. And then, yeah, double to triple happened like that, because Morgan took 3 rubies, locked arms with them. They went diamond, boom, she goes triple. There's 3 new diamonds. And that's how it works, you know? And I like that you said, well, there was 3, you know, instead of going, oh, no one's working. You looked at who are the 3. So I love that. I love that so much. Okay. So you started at the beginning, you said by talking. So we get that you were sharing, like even just your journey to Ruby. I know we've got a lot of people on here, you know, if you're on here and Ruby's your next goal. So if you're not yet Ruby, that's your next goal. Comment in the chat like Ruby, you know, I want to see all the people working towards Ruby. So even just joining and wanting to go Ruby, you said you talked to people. So were you using social media? Were you talking? What were you doing? Like, tell us that.
I was doing everything. Like, so whenever I say I did not know about, like, I didn't know what I was doing, that was the biggest blessing ever. And I'll tell you why. It's because I didn't overthink it. I didn't think like, okay, what should exactly this post say? And like, well, if I say this, like nobody will sign up. But if I change this and if I filter this the right way, I didn't care about any of that stuff. I didn't know what I was doing on social media. Now, had I had a little bit of coaching, you know, I'm sure I'll have like great trainings. Definitely utilize those, because had I done that, my stuff would have looked a lot better. But like, I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know that having a wrap party, like a launch party, was optional. I did not know that you could just not do one. Like, that was just so like, okay, I joined, now I've got to do a wrap party. Now I've got to start posting on social media, and I'm going to talk to everybody that I know. Like, it was just like a no-brainer. And so I remember like, I'm like one of those people that like a girl that I was placed underneath, because I was putting a $400 whenever I joined. They were like, probably not. So my enroller placed me under this girl, and she called me and she was like, you know, hey, how can I help you out? I was like, well, I'm having a wrap party tomorrow. And she was like, you are? I was like, yeah. She was like, what are you doing? I was like, not really sure, but I'm going to have people over and I'm going to put a wrap on them. She was like, oh, okay. So like, just don't overcomplicate it. So I did have a wrap party at a launch party. And at that launch party, I signed one of my first distributors, and she was actually an emerald that got me to diamond. And so like she signed up, I signed up a lot of customers, but I also got a lot of wrap cash. And that was huge for me, almost more so than the distributor or the customers, because I left that party and I took a picture, like a selfie with all my cash. And I said, it would have taken me a week to make this money at my job. And I just did it in 2 hours, just having a party and hanging out with my friends. I signed so many distributors up because people were like, are you kidding me right now? You just made $150 in 2 hours, literally having people at your house. Like, I did. And so I posted about those types of things because that's what people want to see. It's fun and it's different. Like, nobody else gets paid to party like that. And so that's one thing that I did. I was posting on social media, had no idea what I was doing, probably did a lot of things wrong, probably wouldn't do some of that stuff again, but I'm glad that I did it then, because that really helped me just to talk to people about it. Mm-hmm. A lot of the people too, and I'll say this because a lot of people are like, well, this person would never be interested, I'm not going to reach out to this person. I made up a list in my head of people that I was like, this person's going to think it's stupid, this person would never order. And those are the very first people that ever ordered from me. They're my first loyal customers, or people that I had totally written off. And it was people through Facebook. And I was using social media a lot because I was new to the area. So I didn't really have a lot of contacts here. So social media, especially Facebook at the time, was huge. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to connect with people from back home, people from school. Like I had people from school at my first wrap party because I was like, you're one of the only people that I know here. So come on over to my house. Like, yeah. And so yeah, and using school too. Like I wore my It Work shirt every day. I was using the products. I drink my greens. I had my energy drink. Actually, I don't think we had those back then. Maybe we did. I don't know. But I was like using whatever products we had, like literally before a test, I was like, who else wants Confianza? Like, does anybody else need them? Like, we're passing them around like fat fighters at the lunch table. So I was just excited. I think that was like the biggest thing is like, I did everything because I wanted to. I was so stinking excited about this, and I still am, obviously. But like, yeah.
No, I think that's, I mean, that right there is, yeah, like you were telling people about the products, you were sharing them, you didn't post once and then never post again. You were like, you know, posting, talking. I think when you're excited about something, somebody else is like, okay, I want to try. But when you're scared or don't even want to like share it, or it's like, oh, I do, it works. Like no one wants to do that. But when someone's over here going like, oh, this stuff's amazing. Like people want that, like, you know, and so that is huge how you're presenting it. And so I love that. So then like growing, you know, so you grow, you went triple. Now I'm sure every day looks different, because I almost hate when people are like, what does a day look like? I'm like, you know what? Every day is
whatever
like,
I want it to look like.
Yeah, I'm like, every day is so different. It depends. Are my kids being good or bad or no? But what would you say are those things that you're like, these are the vital, important things, like my non-negotiables that like I do now to grow my business daily? Like, what is it that you're doing?
So obviously, I mean, I think that for a lot of people, they've kind of, as they've progress in the business and promoted to different ranks, sometimes you just like, you start out doing everything and then you find one or two things that really, really work for you. And for me now, that's social media, and specifically Instagram, which is crazy because I never mentioned before that I was using Instagram, because I didn't really whenever I started. But now that's primarily like where I sign all my people from. So specific things that I do every single day: message, post, follow, and unfollow. I count that in the same thing. Follow up, because the fortune is in the follow up. Oh my goodness. Fortune's in the follow up. Always follow up with people. And then I will talk to my team. So if you don't have a team, use that time to do personal development. I kind of group those two together and do like, you know, personal development where I'll read or I'll listen to a podcast, and I'll be talking to my team and asking them about their charts and helping them with their promotions and, you know, just encouraging them or whatever. And then another thing that I do really often is, Insta stories. That's a big one, because I find so many people through my Insta stories. Like, it's so crazy, especially distributors, which is crazy enough. So I will, and if you're not familiar with Instagram, like the biggest thing that I like to tell people is like, if you're using Facebook and you're like charted for ambassador or like, you know, all this stuff, and you're using Facebook, like don't just switch all the way to Instagram just because I'm saying that it works for me. Like find what works for you. But using Instagram and their Insta stories have really helped, because they come at the top of like your news feed. And so people can see those. Like if you look right here, those are where the Insta stories are. And so you just take a video. Like sometimes I'll be pumping gas and I'll like do like a little boomerang of me pumping gas, and then I'll show like a Blitz card, and then I'll do a video and I'm like, guys, I used to seriously put gas money on credit cards, and I'm so thankful that I get to fill up my gas tank all the way this time. Just little stuff like that, and I'll make a little video about it, and I'll say swipe up if you're interested, and if they swipe up, it sends you a direct message, and they can say just opportunity or whatever. And so I'll do that. I'll do polls. Those are so huge, like for especially potential distributors. You can get pictures from your photo album, like your camera roll, and you can post those on there. Talking about like a team member, or talking about Sherry Lynn, or, you know, whoever. You can just do different pictures about people and their stories, and then say swipe up if you're interested, or comment on this poll if you're interested, or vote. And then you can message the people that vote on it. So that for customers and distributors both really, really works. Also, don't make it all about that. Like, don't make it all about the business, because I love putting anything and everything about my personal life on my Insta story because people feel like they know me automatically just by looking at my Insta story. And that's not even with me having to like interact with them, which that's another thing that I do every day is interact with people because that boosts my algorithm so people see my posts. But they just feel like they know me and it's a video. So it's not just a picture. So they're very different. So I like to use Insta stories a lot. So that was kind of long.
So yeah, so you're using that. So you're sharing about you plus like maybe a product or the business or poll. I like that. That's really cool. And so then do you have, and I know like everybody's different. And like one thing I do want to hit on, you guys, if you're listening, y'all, that Morgan said, but to go triple, she basically was using Facebook. So she did take advantage of her warm market. So I feel like that, and that's kind of how I was like when people ask, how did I, like build? It's like, well, I did wrap parties like every single week to Double Diamond. And then I totally used Facebook, friends of friends. Like I took advantage of, messaging. I would go through my friends list, message all that, literally all the way to ambassador. I think I could count on one hand how many people were distributors on my team on my ambassador chart that I didn't have some relationship with before, or know someone who knew them. So it's like so don't be scared of your warm market. Cause I do think sometimes people miss out on this whole big pool of warm market because they're like, well, I'm going to go Instagram or I'm going to go, strangers. And you can do that. And that's great. I mean, Morgan signed up from someone she didn't know from Instagram, but don't miss out on still that big pool of warm market. Like I hate to see people do that just because let down the pride, message those people and then yes, but also why not grow your network with social media? And I love, what you're seeing on Instagram. So Morgan, do you have like a set number? Like I like to message blank a day, or is it just whatever you're feeling?
So for me and my personality, I literally cannot do like a number or else it'll like drive me crazy. Like I'll have to hit that like right now. And so what works for me is doing times. So I'll message people for 10 minutes about 3 times a day or for 15 minutes twice a day or whatever. So about 30 minutes of messaging and I'll just get in as many messages as I can in that.
I love that. Yeah. Just setting that time, being intentional with that. And so are you kind of the same with like following people? Do you run like Captivate or do you like follow manually or how do you do your following?
So yeah, I use Captivate and I will also like sometimes go through on my explore page and I'll find a profile that I like and I'll go randomly follow people like just kind of more intentionally, but I'm pretty intentional with who I follow on Captivate too, like the different profiles that I'm following from. And so I'll use Captivate every single night. And then even like at the gym, I'll run Captivate on night mode while I'm working out so that it's still following and running for me. So I get out of the gym and I have like 60 follower requests, So if you run the night mode, you can't use your phone really at all. So I'll do that in times when I'm driving or, sleeping obviously too, but yeah.
Okay. Love that. And so then that's what you do. And then do you like to, and I know like everyone's different, like I used to be public, then I was private. Now I'm back public on my Instagram. But so right now you're private because you're accepting follow requests?
Yeah, I like private better for me. And obviously that works for you to be public. So do whatever works for you. For me, I like private better just because I get weird people following me sometimes whenever I was public because I have gone back and forth.
Yeah.
But then every time I went public, I was just like, I don't really like this. And for me, like, because I do work Instagram so intentionally and that's kind of like my baby, I'm very particular on distributors that I allow to follow me. It's only like people that I know that I've like met in person. And so that's another reason too that I kind of want to just make sure that I can like filter through that. And a lot of it is just like I don't want creepers on my Instagram too. And the biggest reason too is that if your profile is on private, I'll have to show you or else this won't make sense. So if my profile is public, you could just see everything. And then you can just kind of be like, oh, okay, like I want to follow her or me, whatever. Like that's cool. Like she doesn't seem weird, so she can follow me, but I don't really need to follow her back because I can see all of her stuff. But if I'm private, I find personally that I get more follow requests because all they can see is this.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone followed you and they just saw, and all you saw was this, you'd be like, who is that? Right? So you're more likely probably to follow somebody back who is private, and you're like, you're curious and you like want to go stalk them. And so you can't do that if you're unfollowing them. So, yeah. And I don't know if that is like different for like college age students or what, but we're a bunch of stalkers. So private works out really well.
No, love it. I love that. So I love that. Yeah. So you're messaging people daily. You know, you said fortunes in the follow up. So do you keep a list? Do you write down names and then that's how you know who to follow up with?
Yeah, I have actually a really specific system that I use for follow-ups. I'm very red and very organized. Okay. So I have 2 different planners. My first planner is a list of people that I talk to every day. So it looks like this. So like the people that I talk to, and these are not just people that I message. These are people who respond back to me.
Yeah.
And so I will put their names down, right? Mm-hmm. And if it's an Instagram person, I'll write @ like the little @ symbol and then their Instagram handle. And then everyone that's highlighted is a potential distributor, because we have weekly parties. So I want to be able to easily go back and say like, invite all of them to my weekly party. So I highlight all the people. And then, so if I talk to somebody on Tuesday, this was last Tuesday, but like, okay, let's say I talk to somebody on Monday. So these are all the people. Mm-hmm. And then Wednesday, because I usually go back like a day or 2. I don't really have like a super set system anymore. I've been trying to go back between just like going the very next day or going 2 days later. Mm-hmm. But I'll go back and talk to every single person that was on Monday. And I'll just send them a simple message and just say like, hey, I just wanted to know if you were still interested. If not, I'll take you off my follow-up, plus I'd hate to bug you. And a lot of times they'll be like, oh my gosh, no, I meant to message you back. Like I forgot. So it's not because they're not interested. And a lot of times, especially when you're new, you're like, they didn't text me back. They aren't interested. They're never going to, like, they hate me. Like I was weird. Like, what did I say wrong? But they just forgot to respond back, or like they read your message and they thought that they hit send and they didn't. So I'll always follow up with people. And then I always go back 2 weeks and then 2 months later and then 6 months ago. So I do that every day or every couple of days. For the ones, like every single day I follow up with somebody. So if it's like a day or 2 ago, but then I'll go through every now and then, like right now I'm working through all my December contacts that I talk to. And then I can see, I put little stars by the ones that are like really interested. Like I'm like, this girl's about to sign up. And so then I know if they don't, then they're very, very interested and I need to contact them pretty frequently.
I love
so that. That's kind of, and then the other.
What planner is that, Morgan? What kind is that?
One on sale at Office Max.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
they're like going out of business, and I got like 3 of them for like $7 each. So I was like,
awesome.
Yeah. But then my other one is just like color coded. I'm like so red, but it's like just got a list of everything that I do that day. And so like if I'm gonna like my 6 list, my messaging, following up, like my Zoom tonight, that's all in my to-do list today, and I highlight them based on enrollments. Like if somebody tells me, hey, I'm going to enroll on Wednesday, I'll write them down for tomorrow in this planner and I'll highlight their name in purple. Mm-hmm. And then anything I do for the business, I highlight in a different color, and then I have stuff for my personal life in a different color too.
Hey, I love that. And the fact is you're doing something daily. And I think that's a thing. Like when you treat this, you know, like a hobby, you get paid like a hobby, you know, or whatever. You treat it like a part-time job, you get paid, you know, and so you're turning it into a job, and you don't not show up at your, 8 to 5. And so you're doing stuff daily. So a lot of people are asking, because you mentioned weekly parties, is that like a team weekly Facebook party you do?
Yeah, I saw somebody said, how do you do one through Instagram? I don't do it through Instagram. So that's another thing, is that I will always try to get people off of Instagram as fast as I can. That's not a very reliable way for me to talk to them, because of like the notifications just are not great on there. So as soon as I figure out that they're interested in ordering, or if they're like, hey, I want more info in the business, I'm like, give me your number. Like, I'll text you. So most of our conversations are done through that. And I usually don't invite potential customers to our parties, just because I feel like that's like a lot of time. And I talk to so many people about the products, and it's just easier to seal the deal with products versus the distributor. So we have stuff about the products in our party, but I invite all my potential distributors. So like, for example, I mean, and most of them do come from Instagram. So I would say, hey, like I'm having a Facebook party Sunday night. it's invite only, and I would love for you to be the first person that I invite. Would you be interested in coming? And they'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah, that sounds so fun. I'm like, okay, great. Add me on Facebook.com/Morgan McIntyre Adventure, because you can change your little Facebook thing in your settings. And so then they'll add me, and then I'll immediately add them to the party. And then I keep a list, obviously, because I like lists, in a little notebook, and I'll just have a list of people that I invited to the party. So then that's who I'm going to go follow up with again the day after the party.
I love that. And so then, is this a party that you do with your team weekly, or is it one like your upline's doing, or what is it like?
No, I really haven't had an upline that has ever really done parties like for everybody. So I've kind of taken over and just done that for myself. So it's me and my whole team. They know it's every single Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, like just like clockwork. So they know exactly who to invite people to, or what to invite people to. And so, it's, if you're wondering like what's on there too, it's just like a mix of posts that we already have that I use Send Share for, and I'm sure you know what that is. And so I have them pre-set up, and then I always have people go live for my team, and it's not just diamonds and above. Like, it's literally everyone. Like, brand new distributor you just signed a week ago, and you just signed your distributor and got $100 bonus. Get on there and go live and tell people about that. And so I'll have like 5 people probably for my team go live and just tell their story, like 30 seconds to a minute, why they joined, why you should join, and why that they're glad that they joined. And so they'll just get on there, and like, it's crazy because I signed a distributor yesterday who was like, I got on your party and Becca's story really spoke to me. So like, she literally signed up because of Becca's story. So like, some people can't connect with my story, but they might connect with 5 other people on my team. So I want a mom, I want a college student, I want a teacher, I want a nurse, and I want, you know, whoever.
No, I love that. And I think that's true. And I think it's huge that how is she signing people from these parties? Because she's inviting them to, because we used to do every week a Facebook party. Right now we're doing every other week on Thursdays a Facebook party. So it's same thing. We have the post and Send Share. Instead of having lives, we've done that before with lives, but we have some pre-recorded stories that are, you know, that I post on there up to it. But I love the idea of doing some lives. I think that's great. But it's like, you've got to take advantage of them. And so I think that's huge. So I love that you're doing that. Okay. So then lastly, I won't give you too long, but what would be like a sample, you know, message that you would send to someone about a product, or, you know, about the business? Like, give us one of each. Like, what's something, if it's someone on Instagram, you know, they're liking your stuff, you're liking theirs, and you want to go reach out, what's something you send?
Okay. So I don't really message a whole stinking like ton for distributors, honestly, because a lot of them come to me, or I get a lot of my distributors from customers. I was a customer first, and I know customers make some of the best distributors, not talking about myself, but talking about people on my team who were customers first and they became distributors. Like, they're awesome. And so I'm like, dude, anytime like I feel like a connection with a customer, I write their name down immediately. And like 2 weeks later, I'll be like, dude, you should just do this business with me. And so I have a girl on Thursday. She just became a customer, and she's about to sign up as a distributor. So that's where I get a lot of mine from. And obviously, like the polls, if they will vote on the poll, that gives me the in to message them. So I guess for what I would say for that, if they were to like, you know, vote on a poll and they're like, yeah, I'm interested in the business, I would just say something like, hey, I saw that you voted on my poll. Where I don't know if you ever heard of It Works before, but then I give them like a little description. So I'll just say, we're a health and wellness company. We're all about helping people get out of debt. So our most popular products are this. Would you be interested in what amount of income would help you breathe? And then they always are like, oh, I don't know. Like, I just literally need absolutely anything. Or they would say $700 a month. And so then I'll say, let me get your number and I'll give you all the info so we can get that, like, make that happen. And then, so I'll just tell you a little bit about my conversation, because what I say, like messaging a distributor, like just the first initial message isn't going to be anything great, because I really don't do that a ton. But, so once I get their number, then let's say they said $700 a month. This was a particular girl the other day. I was like, okay, so that would be an emerald on our chart. So they make about $1,100 a month. And then I'll send them the average income chart so they can see it, like, and they can see like, oh, that's like only halfway up. Like, I could do way more than that, you know? And so then I show them that and I say, okay, I want you to go, let me just type this out because I have it like written out that I say the same thing. Hang on one second. So as soon as they tell me what amount of money would help them, I'll pick a rank, okay? And then I base it off that rank. So let's just say somebody said $700. So the average would for a emerald is like 1,121 or whatever. So I say, okay, so I want you to go look at your bank account right now and see what's in it. And then I want you to go add $1,121 to that. Pretend that's a number in your account. Now, how do you feel? Are you excited? Do you feel like a weight slipped it off? Can you breathe easier? How much could you put towards student loans? How much do you have left over after bills? Are you still stressed out? Do you feel peaceful? That's what this business can do for you. And then they're always like, I need this. I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And so then I just tell them more information about the business. So I always try to be really, I don't know, just like somebody said, just catch the vision, because I think a lot of people are like, I really don't know what I want to make, because they just can't visualize actually making anything more than what they already have. So I want to help them visualize you can do that. And it really helps seal the deal automatically, because they realize that they really do need this. You're not going to buy something at a store if you don't really realize that you actually need it. So if you really realize at the beginning, oh, I need this business, you're not really going to have to work very hard to seal the deal. You just give them the information and answer their questions and be a friend to them, right? And help them. So, so then let's see. Oh, no. Okay. But yeah, so that's what I say to a potential
distributor. I love that. I love having them, asking them how much would they want to make. And then,
I got the wording for that, how much income would help you breathe. I got that from Melissa Billiou. I cannot take credit for that one. But the bank account thing, I did think of one day I was sitting on my couch and I've been using it ever since, and it really has helped. So, and then another, just for a customer, this is what I mostly message for, because then anytime that they're like, oh, I just can't afford that, I don't have the money, I immediately turn around to the opportunity. And that's how I sign a lot of distributors too. Okay. But I feel like it's easier to approach people about the products first. And most people will tell you that it's the exact opposite. You probably message more for distributors, and I found that most people do too. But I message more for customers, and I don't know, it just works better for me. But I'll just say hey, I was wondering if you would want to be a 90-day product model for me. I saw your I saw your profile, or I saw your page or whatever, and I think that you're super cute. Or I'll give them a genuine compliment, and I'll say would you be interested in trying any of the products? And so then they'll say yeah, what products are they? Because I don't say the word It Works in the first one.
Yeah.
And they'll say what products are they? And then I always say, well, they're It Works products. They're all natural. And then I'll give them a list of a couple of our best sellers. So right now I'm saying Hair, Skin, and Nails, Thermofit, Thermophyte, Wraps, and hang on. Hair, Skin, and Nails, Cleanse, Thermophyte, Wraps, and Confianza. And so whenever I'll just say, which one are you interested in most? And I'll say a little thing Hair, Skin, and Nails, and I'll say Hair, Skin, Nails, and Lash Supplement in parentheses top seller. And then another one I'll do Cleanse Detox, and Confianza anti-stress. And so then they'll be oh my gosh, I really want to do the Hair, Skin, and Nails. And so then I'll have this little thing that I just type up about the Hair, Skin, and Nails. And it's not just the Hair, Skin, and Nails are 50. I'm oh my gosh, I love the Hair, Skin, and Nails. So I'm always excited about it. And I always send a picture of the product. So if it's the Hair, Skin, and Nails, I always send a before and after picture, and I have personal ones, so I use my own. If you don't have your own yet, start using the product or use someone else's until you get your own results. Same thing with the Cleanse. I'll send a before and after picture, and this is actually one of my customers, so it's not actually my before and after picture. Wraps, I send my personal before and after picture. And Confianza, I just give them a testimony. But if they're interested in the greens or something, I'll send them a picture of one of my customers holding the greens, saying I just got my greens in and I'm so excited. Thank you, Morgan. And I'll send them that. I'm one of my customers is loving her greens, whatever. So that just kind of makes it more tangible and legit, because some people are sketch on Instagram, and you're how can I trust this? And so if they can just kind of hear your personality and your messages and then see your before and afters, they're going to trust you more. And so then, I'll tell them the prices, the discount and the regular prices. And then I call it the 90-day challenge, or sometimes I'll call it the little customer program, or however you want to word it. And then they'll say, well, what's that? And I'll tell them, or if they don't ask, I tell them. So either way, I let them know what the 90-day challenge is. And then okay, cool, sounds good. And I'm great, let me get your number. And then I get their number, and then I just go ahead and go into signing them up. I don't say, are you ready to order now? Because if your mom went to you and she was like, hey, do you want to clean your room now? You'd be like, no.
Yeah.
You're giving me the option to do it later. Why would I do it right now? Yeah. But if she's like, hey, go clean your room, like, you know that means right now. So you're like, okay, like, I don't have another choice. So what I do is I just say, like, I get their number and I just say, hey, this is Morgan from Insta. How are you? And then they're like, I'm good. How are you? And I'll try to start up a conversation with them about something random. If they're like, I just got home from school, I'm like, cool, what school do you go to? But otherwise, I'll just say, are your billing and shipping addresses going to be the same? And that's like my, like, hey, let's get this thing going. And they're like, yeah, they are. I'm like, great, go to my website. And then, or like, send me your info. And they're like, okay, cool, I'm there. I'm like, great, do this. And let me know when you're
phone call or text.
Text.
Okay, that's what I thought. Text. Okay.
I mean, I did enroll a girl over a phone call today, but it's just she was like a little bit older, so she just wanted to call me, so that was fine too. But yeah, I do everything through text just because you kind of have to know your audience. Like some people would prefer doing calls, but people my age just prefer just to do text too. So I just do that, and I do a lot of voice messages too. So if somebody's like, especially if I'm getting their info for them, like if their billing and shipping addresses are different and they don't have PayPal, I'm going to be getting their info. So I'll send them a thing. I'll send them a voice message so they can hear my voice before I say, hey, I need your credit card number. I'll send them a message and I'll just say, okay, that's totally fine. Your billing and shipping addresses are different. We can still put your order in. I'll just have to do it for you. I'll send you a picture of our customer order form, and then as soon as you like send me all the info, then I can just go in and put that in for you, and I'll delete all your info whenever I'm finished. And then they'll just send it to me, and I send them a picture of our little customer order form, and then they send me the info over.
Awesome.
But yeah.
Would you say you enroll most of your customers, or you send them the steps to your site?
I've been going back and forth. I have really good success either way. Like, I haven't really lately had people mess up on the website or anything. That's like the biggest reason why you really sometimes don't want them to, is like if they're going to mess up. I kind of read the person too. If they're getting really confused very, very easily on our conversations, and this doesn't sound mean or anything, but sometimes it's confusing. And if they're just like, I don't get it, like, explain this again, then sometimes I'll just be like, okay, let me go ahead and get your info for you. And I'll just place it for you. Don't worry about the thing on the website. So I just kind of read the situation, but depends on, like, if I'm like out at dinner, they can do it themselves. Like, I don't want to feel the pressure to have to do that. But if I'm like at home, I'm like, I've got my computer right now, go ahead and send me the info. So
Lizzie, one of the girls said, about how many like customers, distributors do you sign in a month, Morgan? Like, do you have a average, or is it always different, or a goal?
Typically for distributors, I would say I sign about 10. Okay. So like if I sign like 15, that's like a really good month for me. I'm not like a huge distributor enroller, but I do the steps to success every single month. I've signed 2 this month so far. So every month is different, and I've had like a ton of potential. So it's just kind of goes back and forth with the planning and sewing season. Customers are pretty, I sign a lot of customers just because that's what I message about. But I usually sign anywhere from like 50 a month is like average for me.
50?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's
like
awesome.
If I sign 30, it's kind of like a slower month for customers.
Wow. That's incredible. I'm like, I've never signed 50 ever in a month. So yeah, but you're messaging like, and sending those. So I love that. Wow. So I think what I love about that is that showing there are definitely people that want these products, because it's easy to like feel like, oh, well, I've asked everybody. It's like, well, and I've said it before. I'm like, and I've said it to myself, to the team. It's like, people are signing people. So there's people to be signed. So wow. So that's awesome.
And another thing I wanted to throw out there too that I forgot to mention earlier was whenever I'm talking to people about the cleanse, so none of those products that I mentioned are packs, right? So a lot of people are like, okay, well, if you're working on social media, you can't sign except for just like one hair, skin, and nails. Like that's 30 BV. So people, their biggest like objection to people working like only on social media is that you can't sign as much volume at one time. So here's how I switch an order of ThermoFit to a pack, okay? So, and I'll show you another example too. So, like I have a picture of my before and after picture, and I saw the thing that you posted for me about the Zoom, and it's not that before and after picture, but it is a before and after picture of like my weight loss. Well, I didn't just use the ThermoFit. I use ThermoFit greens and fat fighters. So I use like the triple thread or whatever. And so if people are like, oh, I'm interested in the ThermoFit, I'm like, okay, cool. Here's a ThermoFit. Like, this is what it is. This is how much it is. And then I send them a before and after. I'm like, this is me using the ThermoFit fat fighters and greens. They're like, oh, what are the fat fighters and greens? And I'm like, this is what they are. And they're like, how much is it? And I'm like, well, you actually end up saving X amount of dollars if you get it all together. And they're like, oh my gosh, like, that's so cool. I'll just do all three of them. I'm like, okay, cool. So I upsell that way. Another thing too today, this is going to hit a lot of different things that we've already covered, but I followed up with this girl who was a potential distributor, and she like ghosted me for like the last like 5 texts and just like wasn't interested in the business, obviously. So I messaged her today and I said, hey, I know we talked before about the business. This is going through my December contacts I was telling you about earlier. Mm-hmm. We talked early in December and I said, I know you're not interested in the business. I can just tell, and that's okay. But would you be interested in trying any of our products right now instead? I'm really looking for somebody to try our 2-day cleanse right now. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I haven't texted you back. I'm like, whatever. And so she was like, but I would love to do that. And she was like, tell me more about it. So I told her the info. And she was like, I'm so bloated. I totally need this. Told her about the 90-day challenge. She was all for it. And then I was like, okay, great. Are your billing and shipping addresses the same? And she said, yeah. And I said, okay, before I give you my website, I wanted to tell you this really quick because I just had to let you know. Hang on, let me just go to my text and see what I said. She said, let me see. Okay. So I said, she said, yeah, they'll be the same. I said, okay, perfect. And before I send you my website, it's totally up to you. But for only $13 more, you can actually get the cleanse, a body wrap to tighten, tone, and firm, 5 packs of keto fat burning coffee, and 5 samples of berry and orange greens. Just let me know if you want to just stick with the cleanse or if you'd rather upgrade to get the extras. And she was like, that's so awesome. I'm curious to try them out. Let's do it. So then I upgraded her to the Fit 5 pack. And so all I said was $13 more. So that was like super helpful. So anytime that they're like talking about the cleanse, you can be like, well, I know you said that you wanted to tighten, tone, and firm too, so you could add the wraps in there or whatever. So you can easily upsell. I mean, a lot of stuff that I sell are packs, and then I work from Instagram, so you can totally do that.
Yeah, you can totally. I love that. Okay, last thing, and then we'll let you go. I know we went, time's about up, but so, because I know some people are asking, like, what do you post? So, and I know everyone's different, so I almost hate asking because I'm like, some people post every hour. Some people are like, oh, I only post once today. So it's like, But what for you, what's like your ideal, number of posts you do on Facebook? And then do you try to do like distributor driven product, non-networks, or do you have something like that? And then what about with Instagram?
So, I do post differently on Instagram and Facebook, and I won't get super into this because it's kind of, you just kind of figure out what works best for you. But if I post a before and after picture on Instagram, people are like, what? But if I post it on Facebook, it's like no one sees it, I feel like, because some people are seeing it even if they don't like it, because I was one of those people who like didn't like anything, but I still was watching. But I feel like with the algorithms, it's different, like literally every week. So if you ask me this question in 6 weeks, it'll probably be a different answer, but everything's always changing. So I always do like interactive posts on Facebook. Those don't work well on Instagram. If you ask people their opinion about Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, they don't give a flip about that, and they're not going to comment on your post. So it's very, very different. So I will post things like that on Facebook. I'll post hilarious statuses on Facebook. Well, I think they're funny, but whatever. So I'll post like stuff like that on Facebook, and like just very like personal stuff. And like if it doesn't look cute, if it's not bright and crisp and whatever, I'll post it on Facebook anyways, because it doesn't matter. But on Instagram, I like for my page to be very private. Well, it's private, but very like bright and crisp, and I like for it to look a certain way. So if I have like a grainy, blurry picture of something that's funny, like I'm probably not going to post that on Instagram. I might put it on my Insta story, but I will mostly post stuff on Instagram that has to do with the business or the products. And I really don't post personal stuff on Instagram. I posted like my testimony about the Lord before on Instagram. I do that every now and then. I'll post, like, I did a Starbucks hack about like how to save sugar in your drinks or whatever yesterday. And like, I'll post stuff like that. That's not all about the business, but my posts, if they are for It Works, they're mostly about the business. Because I'm messaging so much about the products that I need to talk about the business somehow. And that's how I get people to come to me, is because most of my posts are about the business. And every single night, this has been a game changer, is that I post my story every single night. Or I'll post somebody on my team story. We actually had them do a thread. And I said, everybody post your story below and post it with a picture that you want me to use. So I have been posting my story one night, then their story another night. My story, their story, my story, their story. And then whenever I post my story, it's different wording. So it's like a little bit different, but it's telling how this business has changed my life. And that seriously has been such a game changer. That's why I have so many people highlighted in pink on my agenda, because people are really interested in what I'm doing, because it catches their attention because you see it over and over. And I do it at night because people are scrolling through their phones, laying in bed because they can't fall asleep because they're stressed out, or because they're about to set their alarm to go to work tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So, and then it's a little bit different on Facebook, but I'd still do product posts and business posts on both, but you just have to work them all.
Do you have like a certain number of how many times a day you try to do on each?
Not for Facebook, it's kind of just whatever, but for Instagram, I definitely do at least 3, if not more. And that's 3 like business posts. Like if I post more than that, it's going to be like, if I post 5 times, it'll be 3 of the business or products and then 2 something else. Okay. And there's actually an app, it's free. It's called When to Post. Mm-hmm. And so it literally tells you the other day. Yeah, it literally tells you when to post. Yeah. So, and it's based on your following. So mine is going to be different than yours would be because
it looks like, does it show? There it is.
Yep. And you can buy it or upgrade, but I should have the free.
It's like telling me times I always thought were like the don't post times. Like today it was like 2 something. I'm like 2, like, are people like even looking at their phones? But I'm like,
see, mine wasn't that too. So mine's different than yours because we have different followers. So it's like, it's
you
crazy.
And all your old lady stay-at-home mom friends are all home on your phones at 2 in the carpool line. That's probably what it is. Because I was like 2, like.
That's so funny. Yeah. So, and honestly, because of the algorithm, like I used to try to post like morning, noon, night, like very strategically, but now I can pretty much post whenever, as long as I've got a lot of interaction on there. So.
And then I kind of like did a little Facebook stalk. It looks like you try to do around 3 a day, sometimes more on Facebook. You try to do like 3-ish.
Yeah. And sometimes like I won't always copy and paste my stuff from Instagram over to Facebook because I don't know. Yeah, it's just different. But I do post a lot, whether or not it's about the business on Facebook or about the products on Facebook. I post a lot because I want people to see me. So I've had people that have been seriously like, this girl called me yesterday and she's like, I've been watching you on Facebook for 6 months. So like I still do get stuff from Facebook. I just more actively work Instagram.
I love that. Well, thank you, girl. So good. So much good things. Oh my goodness. Okay. So the good part is, even though we missed some of her story, I do have this recorded.